Welcome, Craig.
Hi, Sophia. It's a pleasure joining you today.
And you mentioned winning the Epic Games Mega Grant. Why did you? So that means you guys are building on Unreal Engine. Why did you guys choose to build on Unreal Engine? Tell us a little bit about that, because we don't see that often for publishing on the web.
We're very fortunate to have won that grant a few years back. We loved Unreal. We loved the dynamic lighting capability of it. Having won that award, built a relationship with developers in that community that was invaluable as well for understanding features that could be used and utilized, and new features that were up and coming. So that was a nice advantage. We then built internally the tools to take an Unreal environment and transform it very, very quickly into our WebXR platform. And that enabled us to take that AAA fidelity of a gaming engine and actually bring it and apply it into the WebXR. And then that obviously raised questions on what you wanted to start doing for bandwidth and other things. So we worked hard on that, solved a lot of those problems, and we were able to start creating pretty dynamic experiences for multi-users to share.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing like the fidelity and the graphics of Unreal, using Unreal Engine.
So Sophia, perhaps we'd like to take a quick peek into one of our new environments called Spaceland, which is going to be in the art and culture community.
All right, Craig, tell me where we are. We are in a mystical world here on the web. It looks like there's a castle in front of me. What is this?
Well, we're going to take a quick peek into this. This is an environment we're excited about. We haven't launched it just yet, but it's becoming a very favorite project of all of our developers. We have we call this Spaceland, and this area in it is called Spaceland. And this is really for the art and culture community, for a beautiful area where people will store their galleries. They'll be able to socialize, look at NFTs among each other, have beautiful different spaces as they go into it. So if we look around the community, there's palaces all over. Now you're down on ground level, so you can't see so much. So what we'll do is take a quick jog up. Just so we get a little bit more
beautiful
view onto the vista. So, and again, we do all this just in web. The detail becomes rather extraordinary for web, so we can open up into our space. This is coming in through the gates, and then we can take that up into upper areas of the castle and private gallery rooms. Or why don't we just take a little look around the actual Spaceland itself. And each of those palaces are available for different people who want to have a presence in here. There'll be presence for public to come in and explore the art and the different sculptures. There's sculpture gardens, there are mazes, there's a whole world in here with NFT marketplaces and all sorts to really have a fully functioning economy and a social aspect to participate with others.
Okay, Craig, where are we? This is like a fantasy world. You know, I was telling Ben earlier that I'm going to take my friends in here for Halloween. I mean, this is incredible. And whoever made this is super creative. Tell us more about this world.
Smearballs is very much an active member in the art community. He has been a partner with a number of different artists, music artists. He's made a number of music videos for Deadmau5. You'll notice some of the characters that are in here are consistent to some of the videos that he has created in some of those songs. Huge popularity and numbers of views have come out of him. He's always been incredibly original. That's why we were so excited when we worked together to create this space as one of the initial gallery spaces in the Spaceland environment.
Yeah, this is awesome. Let's go check it out and see what's inside.
Well, this is a gallery from our Palaceland's website. It's just a web address to come into an artist by the name of Smearballs. And he has very unique art, and it's beautiful and it's interesting. And he wanted to have a very unique gallery to bring clients, fans, friends into as he shows some of his art pieces. If we take a look over into these frames, these have copies of various NFT art pieces that he has that are 3D. We can move within this space. As you see, we turn on our camera feeds into our avatar, so it's not, rather than a Zoom call, as we look around this space, we can move into it immersively, share it, and feel the presence of each other as we move around.
I'd love to take a look at some of this art around here. And it's not only the art in the frames, we're talking about every piece, every asset that's in this space is art from this artist, from Smearballs.
Yeah, it is. He's brilliantly talented and inventive in a level that is just hard to imagine, but he initiates emotions. You feel laughter and you feel joy and humor and curiosity, and I think that's what art is a lot about. And he brings all that into his space and into his art pieces here. So it's entertaining, it's exciting, it's thrilling. It elicits all those different emotions, and we love the collaboration we've had with him.
Okay, Craig, this is a gorgeous space. We are sitting on the terrace overlooking what looks to be New York City. I mean, I see some iconic buildings over here, and some of the labels of these doorways behind us, what we'll get into later, have the names of some territories within or neighborhoods within New York. Tell us about the space.
This is a space, we call this a network lounge. And we developed this for our division, New Sky. And the purpose of this was for the business to business community, so that they could have areas that they could have their remote workers or clients come on into during the pandemic, but we still able to turn on our video like you do in a Zoom call or any video conferencing call. So you have that face-to-face connection, but you have the sense of presence of yourself in a space. And it proved to be something that avoided the fatigue that you might feel in another video call. These ones become very comfortable for extended lengths. So if you choose to sit at a table or wherever you want, and you have a screen at your home that you could be doing your work on, you'll have coworkers or clients or whoever walk on up to you, which is really quite a unique feeling. Because they'll walk up, hey, what are you doing? It's almost like you just met at the water cooler in the office. But now you're gathering, you can sit down together, you can still work on your other computer, but talk to somebody, you can collaborate, share screens, and it becomes a total workspace that is both, fun and productive. And so we launched this out with a number of beta events, and they were very, very successful. So then we built out this space to be more based on, so that we could scale it up and make it so that anybody could build their own spaces from a website, drag and drop in their own logos and personalize it in their own way, and have a space that they can now call their own and invite their own clients and staff to gather and have meetings. We can do it, it scales up to any number. Each one of these call zones, these terraces, which is where you get to turn on your video, has a capacity of about 20 to 25 people. There's 4 terraces, so we can bring about 100 people into this, and it scales immediately into any instance, so you can throw parties for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people if you really want, and just scales up. So it's quite unique, and it really is a fun space to gather and hang out in.
I mean, how have you seen some of your clients or partners or friends kind of use this space or spaces like it, I'd say?
We had a launch event a couple months ago with a couple major corporations and executives, and at the end of it, one of the CEOs said that he was able to have more intimate and personal conversations than he'd ever had on Zoom, which he'd been sort of stuck to, with these international calls that had been going on. And that was fun to hear from somebody who isn't necessarily experienced on a technical basis, but was able to step in, feel comfort, build an honest and natural relationship with the people he's talking to, and make it a valuable work experience. So what we're in right now is one of our first beta sites, and it's successful, it works well, it's comfortable, but our developer site has 50 new features to it, and that's the site that will launch in the next few weeks. But the features are pretty extensive, where as you move into multiple floors and layers for instances, because you get into events that are having thousands of people, and you want to be able to find people, so we have that built in as a feature. How to gather, how to go straight to people who are in another floor, in another area, how to bring in and share your screens and share certain assets, how to mute out other people and get your private moments, and share different aspects that people in a work environment or a business environment would appreciate more than, say, those at a music entertainment event. It's a little bit different. So.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting, because this particular environment and environments like this, you're designing specifically for the corporate world, which is a little bit different than what we've traditionally seen in WebXR so far. It's designed for people that are more familiar with the technology, more into the gaming world and such. So you guys are actually bringing this tech to CEOs and those that are kind of more in these serious roles and these serious businesses. What is their reaction to doing work or collaborating, socializing in this way? I mean, do you see this being kind of just sticking to how people are going to be socializing and collaborating, disparately into the future?
Yeah, it's definitely a continuing medium. I think the pandemic forced people into adopting it much quicker than they ever expected to. Pandemic was felt to be ending, so that you're about to go back to normal work, but it really hasn't gone back at the pace that people expect. So there's still an extremely high demand for this, but it also allows a lot of cost savings. People who don't want to travel or for meetings and hotels and different prices. But I think that we built this out as this was what we called the network lounge, but we also built out the business headquarters, which is onboarding and training sessions and product, introductions and different aspects. And then we built out trade shows. And so that has everything from exhibit booths, where you get to come on and talk to your clients and meet with them, and then they can explore on their own. It has breakout sessions and keynote sessions and open immersive spaces throughout. And we did those initial launches a year ago as our test beta cases. We did a dozen of those events, learn the lessons, the bugs, and then we shut them down so that we could build this out to be more trouble-free and more frictionless for the inexperienced user to be able to come in and feel comfortable. So what we do is to have a lesson. Let's learn about helicopters today. This can be a classroom where a teacher or a trainer is teaching people in this space. So we bring up a helicopter, and then we put some labels on it so we understand the parts of it. And then we hit the next button, and that will explode the engine and pieces out so we understand where they are. And then as we hit the final button, we can watch a video that explains the lessons on maintenance and flying the helicopter. So it becomes a choice of a lesson that you can have within these immersive spaces that can be engaging and people can participate in, and it takes away a visual memory that makes those lessons even more powerful.
So here we are in another environment called CyberXR.com. It looks like a studio environment, but what's super impressive is just the incredible lighting that you see here reflected on the floors and the carpet and in the couch behind me. I mean, it looks like real leather. It looks so comfortable, and I just want to take a seat in this space. But this whole studio is just beautiful and looks like it could be another digital twin of, this just might be the most impressive space that I've seen in WebXR. And in fact, it looks like native VR to me. this volumetric capture of Grace Weber is so incredible. I mean, they were able to stream with such high fidelity into the space in WebXR and have full occlusion. So you can actually walk around this object and this asset and see in full 360 3D the performer. And you can actually walk closer and get some more detail of her face and of her movement. Something that I personally haven't seen in WebXR yet, and it's incredible.
So one of the advantages of being in the music business for so long is when we do our volumetric captures of singers, we have all sorts of wonderful choices of where they can perform. In today's case, it's a volumetric holographic performance in the lobby jukebox.
So Craig, one last question for our audience, and I'm sure we're all very anxious to hear what you have next on your roadmap.
Well, one of our long-term and original goals was to build a form of the metaverse. And I know metaverse today is a common and popular buzzword, but for anybody who imagined it years ago, what a digital world might entail, it was complicated and technology had to catch up, but we also had to come up with some sort of definition that seems to be agreed by most people. And I look at that as the starting point. So when we look at a metaverse has to have a persistence that people can come into at any time. It has to have a fully operating economy. It needs to be span across digital and physical worlds. Needs interoperability between one metaverse to another. Needs to be synchronous and live. It needs to have no cap to the people who come to join it. It's not a game. It's an experience. And once you get that understanding that you need to achieve each of those features, you start designing your technology accordingly. So as we started bringing in volumetric, live streaming, multiplayer, an economy, a safety, privacy, security, all of these features we started bringing into our metaverses, and we were able to bring them into our high fidelity environments. And we decided to do them across different verticals, business to business, pop culture, art and culture, different areas. And those each will be launched in the very near future.
And with that, that concludes our WebXR Design Summit and WebXR 2021 Summit Series. Thank you, Craig, for having us and being on our show today.